Sponsored by EA. Hey everyone, it's AlluringSimmer here, and if you're new here, then welcome to Planet Allura, and if you've been here before, then welcome back. Today, we are creating a classroom for elementary school students, and potentially something that could be used in a future Let's Play. But before we get into today's video, I just want to share that I am part of the EA Creator Program, and you can use my code AlluringSimmer when purchasing Sims 4 DLC, or visit my website at AlluringSimmer.com/creator to see other eligible EA titles that you can use my code AlluringSimmer for when making purchases on the EA app. To anyone who's already used my code, I appreciate you so much, and I hope that you all continue to do so. It really does help to support me as a content creator, and it's amazing to see all the support you've shown already, so thank you so much. Also, I have a Sims challenge that I've extended the deadline for, so you can participate in that throughout the week. If you'd like to create a sim or build, then there is something for you with this challenge. I have the hashtag Alluring Fairy Shell. You download the shell on the gallery. My gallery ID is AlluringSimmer, and you make any fairy theme build following the rules in my description, or you can use the hashtag AlluringFairyCast and upload a fairy sim that you've created. I may choose your sim or your build to add to the world during my upcoming Wings Let's Play, so consider to enter if you want to see your sim in my game. So let's get into today's build. The reason why I wanted to create a classroom is because I am planning to go back to school in the upcoming school year to become a teacher and get my certification for that. And I thought it'd be fun to create a classroom as a way to, like, I don't know, sort of celebrate that moment because I'm very excited. Something that I do want to mention is I am hoping to do a support-a-thon type of thing on my Twitch and YouTube in the coming weeks and to raise money for my school fees, and any support is greatly appreciated. So if you are using my code already, you're already helping to support that. If you're subscribed to my Twitch channel, you're helping in that way as well. You can also make a donation on Ko-fi, or you can subscribe to the Tulip tier on my Patreon if you'd like to help me with my future academic endeavors as well as my future career endeavors. Do keep in mind that doesn't mean that anything is going to be happening in terms of content. Like, I will still be making content because this is also very much a passion of mine, but that is something to keep in mind, that I will be going to school pretty soon, so you know, content might be a little bit less frequent, but my plan is to still keep it consistent. So as I mentioned before, there will be a support-a-thon coming very soon on my channel. I'll try to put out all the updates and stuff for that this week on my socials. I'll make like little flyers and stuff so you guys can get all the details, but essentially it'll be run through my Twitch and YouTube stream, pretty much more so through my Twitch stream, and there will be incentives for meeting certain goals, and any money that I raise will be going towards my school fees as well as like things that I need for school, including like a laptop, school supplies, etc. But honestly, I was super excited to do this build because I don't know, like, I'm excited for the future to be able to eventually have my own classroom and be able to like decorate it and make the space like a really fun space for my future students. So I kind of did what I would want for my classroom with this build, but I also was keeping in mind that I do want to upload this to the gallery, so I wanted it to be functional and something that you could potentially use for your Sims as well. Another thing is, when I was building this, I feel like I was going more for like a standard classroom. So I feel like in my like dream classroom, I think it would be a little bit more elevated in the space, and I think I'd have like a more consistent theme. I do feel like this kind of has a theme of like woodland creatures and animals sort of vibe, but I think for like my personal classroom, I'd want it to be like super bright and colorful. So this was just creating like a standard classroom that I think other people could find use from as well. And I think I want to do like more videos where I make like different kinds of classrooms, if that's something that you all would be interested in. So let me know in the comments down below if you'd like to see me make classrooms for like different grade levels. I would say like this would be like maybe grade 3 to 5, maybe grade to 6, something like that. I want to do a kindergarten classroom. I think that would be a fun build to do because I feel like the vibes of the room would be different. And then I also want to do a high school classroom and then maybe a university classroom. So if you'd like to see me do a classroom based off of different grade levels, then let me know in the comments down below, and also let me know by giving this video a thumbs up. Let me know that you enjoyed the build. So when deciding on the layout for this classroom, I have been actually watching so many like classroom decorating TikToks. I'm not even getting my own classroom yet, but I'm not even close to that point yet. But I've been watching them and they're honestly so fun to watch. I feel like even if you're not a teacher or an aspiring teacher, like just watch some like classroom decorating videos and you have to see how all out some of these teachers go. And I love it. So with this, I was trying to figure out how I wanted to lay out the desk so that they would be able to see the board. And obviously I don't really know how well this would work in gameplay. I do know that the hobby board works and you're able to like teach lessons through that, but I don't know if the students are gonna like sit or if they're just gonna stand in front of the board. So if there's a way to get them to like listen to the lecture or whatever you're doing on the board and have them sit in the seats, then let me know, because that would be really good. But yeah, right now you can see I have like the desks in like a group arrangement. I ended up changing it to a table instead because the desks take up way too much space. I feel like this classroom is huge and I can't imagine like making a whole school and then trying to fit these desks in there. I do feel like, to be fair, these are from high school years and the way that they're set up in the actual school in Copperdale is like single desks. Like there's no group stuff going on like the way that I have it set up. So I will keep in mind like that wasn't its original intention, but I just hate how wide they are. Like I feel like they could be like a little bit thinner and then I would have been able to do this layout and make it work. Now, after I placed all the desks, I was trying to figure out the configuration of where the chairs are going to go. And obviously here you can see that the chairs are so close and the ones that are in the middle, they would not be able to sit there because they might be able to get in the seat, but I feel like it was just too close. And even though this is obviously The Sims, I do think about things like really realistically because I'm like, well, what if there was like a fire drill? Like, would they be able to get out of the classroom? Not really, because there's no like hallway space. There's no space in between those chairs. So I think I ended up expanding the classroom a little bit. You can see here, I did end up shrinking it again later and then expanding it again. You'll see that I messed around with this room quite a bit, but I am happy with like the final layout and I am happy that I switched from the desks over to the tables instead. Now, when I was coming up with like the layout for this classroom, I was looking at like other classrooms for inspiration because I realized you don't really think about like what's in your classroom as a student. I don't know if other people do. Like, you know where the things are that you need to use, right? Like you may know where like the papers are, where you can get a pencil from if you need to use it. But in terms of like other things that like you don't really need to know about, like where are the supplies to like clean up the desk, where are the whiteboard markers that like the extra ones, like you don't really have to think about those things as a student. But I feel like as a teacher, they do have to know where everything is so that they're able to either supply it to their students or use it for themselves in the classroom. So I was trying to figure out like what kind of storage do I need to add in this classroom, because like right now obviously it's functional, you could use this for your Sims for storytelling, but in terms of like looking like a classroom, I feel like it hadn't really hit that moment yet. And once we get to the end of this build, you'll see like I am very proud I'm very proud of how this classroom turned out, and that's part of the reason why I want to make more in the future. So when I first started creating this classroom, my initial intention was to make a kindergarten classroom. I will say that like that was what I went into this build to do, but I feel like either one, the room is too small or two, I just could not get the layout down the way that it would need to be to fit all the things I feel like you would need for a kindergarten classroom. I ended up just doing like elementary school, like grade 1, 2, 3 maybe would be in this class. The one benefit to that is I feel like the transition in terms of like decorations and stuff from kindergarten to like grade 3, I don't think it changes too much. Like maybe there's less like bright colorful things, and obviously you're not going to have like your ABCs and stuff on the wall once you hit like maybe grade 2 or 3, but I do really like that even though my original intention was to do a kindergarten classroom, I didn't really have to change too much when I decided to like pivot over. Now, one thing that I really wanted was to have a carpet corner. I feel like in my classroom in the future, like I need to have a little carpet area for the students, either for reading or like even for if I wanted to read to the class, for example. Like I just feel like having that like cozy space that's not at your desk or your table just makes it a little bit more comfortable for the students, and it also just makes it feel like more welcoming in my opinion. So pretty much everything was revolved around creating a space so that I could have a carpet corner. So in the beginning when I was trying to figure out where the chairs would go, I feel like logically someone would look at this and be like, why don't you just put some near the back of the classroom? Well, I can't do that because that's where the carpet corner is going. And essentially I wanted to create a space where like you could probably have like a Sim sit there. I don't know if you can tell stories to other Sims. I think you can. Yeah, you definitely can. I don't know if they'll sit and listen or if they just like stand around and listen, because I know there's like the stories that you can tell around like a campfire, for example, and then there's the stories, obviously you can read a book to children. I don't know if you can do that unless they're like in bed, because I know you can read them to sleep, but I don't know if you can just read to them regularly. So, you know, let me know in the comments down below if you know the answer to that. And to be fair, if I do end up using this build for gameplay, I will probably eventually figure it out. But yeah, I do feel like in the future, when I get my own classroom, a reading corner is a non-negotiable. Like, I need to have a little area with a bunch of books that the students can read. Anytime they are like finished with their work or something like that, they need to have a space where they can go and decompress and read. And there are also little toys and stuff over there too, so I'd imagine like if they want to have like a little bit of playtime, I guess they can also do that. But I wanted to put more of an emphasis on the reading corner. And I was gonna try and throw this lamp in here, but I was like, one, I do think this would be a safety hazard. Like, imagine they knocked into that lamp. That's not good. And two, it just took up a little bit more space than I needed it to, so I ended up putting something else there instead. I will say at this point in the classroom, like, I feel like I could have been done here and like it still would have everything, almost everything that you need, because we have the reading corner, we have all the tables and chairs for the students, we have like the teacher's desk, and then we have a couple like posters and decor throughout the room. Another thing I wanted to make sure that I had was like, I feel like in a classroom, there are no walls that are really left empty. I honestly feel like even with the final build, like once everything was done, I do feel like there's still room for like more posters, more things on the wall, but I don't feel like I could find a lot of posters that I wanted to use in the space that made sense for like the grade level that I was aiming to make this room for. Because we do have, obviously, since we have high school years, there is a lot of like posters for high school grade levels, like science and math and all that stuff, but there wasn't a lot for like younger grades because we don't really have a pack dedicated to that. One pack that really came in clutch for this build is definitely Growing Together alongside high school years. I feel like Growing Together has a lot of stuff that was used for like the recreation center, and a lot of that works really nicely in a classroom build as well. So if you want to create a classroom for your own Sims, then definitely recommend that pack because it has a lot of like, I don't know, like the little kid drawings. It has like the glue and scissors and all that stuff. A lot of the wall paintings, wall decals and stuff were from that as well. I just think it really helped to tie the builds together. One thing that I feel like would be really important to me in a real life classroom, as well as like when I was creating a Sims classroom, is making sure that it gives off the space is inclusive of all students. So I wanted to do that with the decor and stuff that I put on the wall. I used that like little poster with like all the hands on it and like the poster with all the people around the globe. Like, I just think that's so cute, and I want to make sure that in the future my classroom is a space that makes every student feel welcome to be there. I feel like this might be like interesting for some people that maybe don't watch my streams and stuff and like don't really know too much about like me personally, because I don't really tend to talk about my like personal life and stuff when we're doing let's plays or create a Sims or speed builds, to be honest, because I don't really see the need, or I also don't really see like how it relates to like the content I'm creating, which is part of the reason also why I wanted to do this build, is so that you guys can sort of get to know me better. I feel like those who do watch my stream, they get a little bit more about me because I can like share things in real time. But when it comes to like YouTube stuff, I don't always get to say things about my life and like what's going on with it. So I feel like it's really fun to like share this like journey that I'm heading on with my life in terms of like becoming a teacher and wanting to do that, because it has been something that I've been very passionate about for like my entire life. And I feel like anyone who knows me personally knows that, because it's something that I won't stop talking about. But yeah, I'm just very excited. Another thing that I want to mention, as I mentioned earlier, some other ways that you can support me, including like using my creator code and, you know, supporting me on Twitch and like Coffee, for example. Another way you can help me out is I have created a teacher vibes collection on my Throne wish list with like things that I would need as, you know, a student teacher. And then also eventually when I do become a teacher, some things that would be helpful. I will be like having experience in a classroom, so I feel like there are some things that I would need, even though I won't be having like my own classroom per se. I will still be working with students, so I added some stuff on my wish list for that and will continue to do so. So if you are able to support in that way by contributing to anything on my wish list, I'll have a link to it in the description down below, and just know that it's greatly appreciated. Never required to do anything like that, but it is always super appreciated if you are able to help. And then, as I said before, I will be doing a support-a-thon in the upcoming week, so that's another way that you can get involved and help support me in my future endeavors. Please keep an eye on my socials. Consider to join the Discord if you aren't already a part of it by clicking the link in the description, and I'll be sharing more details about that and the incentives for that in the coming days. Now, once I got to this point in the build, I was kind of like, okay, well, now what? Like, I feel like I have the teacher desk, I have the student desk, I even have like a little coffee corner area for the teacher, but there was still something missing, and that was like this entire wall being empty. I was like, something is missing here. We need something more. And then my sister was the one that suggested, and she was like, you need to add some cabinets, you need to add some counters. She's like, every classroom that I've ever been in has like a wall of counters and cabinets. I was like, that is so true, because I'm like, there's so many supplies and things that you need for your classroom, and obviously you need somewhere to put it. I feel like I could have also added like a standing cabinet too, and now in hindsight I kind of wish I did. But as I said before, we may potentially make more classrooms in the future, so maybe in those ones I'll make sure to add the things that I may have forgotten with this build. One thing that I didn't forget though is the fire extinguisher. We gotta make sure we have that. I feel like, I don't know if there's a fire extinguisher in every classroom. I feel like there is, and then there's also some in like the hallways. And I also added a smoke detector. I added a little hand washing station. I kind of wish I put like more signs at that station, and maybe when you see the actual build on the gallery, because I will be uploading this on my gallery D AlluringSimmer, I may potentially add or change slight things just before I upload it. So if you notice anything different from like this build to like the actual finished build when you download it from the gallery, that's why. I may have just realized there's something that I forgot, or is something that I really think would be necessary for the build and threw it in there. It also may potentially look exactly the same because I may forget to make those changes and just decide to leave it the way that it is. I will say that I really had a lot of fun doing this build. It also kind of takes me back to my Miss Melody Let's Play. If you haven't seen that, then consider to check it out. I did a Let's Play where I made a sim who was a music teacher, and we ran a couple classes with her using business and hobbies, and that was really fun. However, that classroom, they were like in a piano room. It wasn't like a classroom like this. However, you can teach so many other skills. Like, I think you can teach pretty much every skill that is in the game through the hobby board. So I thought it'd be fun to do it this way, and then you could have a teacher who teaches, I don't know, like, I think you can maybe teach like fitness skill, you could teach charisma, you could teach a bunch of different things, and have your sim like bring students in that you would learn in the classroom. And that would be a fun way to give your sim like an active teacher career, since we don't really have that currently. I do personally think that was kind of a missed mark with like high school years. Even with like growing together, I feel like they could have added something like that, where like we had an active teacher career, like your sim can go to school and be the teacher, since we can go to school and be the student in high school years in Discovery University. And obviously, you know, the elementary school students, like, they could go to school but not active school. I just wish that we had a way to be like an active teacher career, because I feel like there's so many things that could be done with that. So I don't know, maybe it's something we might get in the future, but I just feel like because we've already gotten so many school related packs, I don't know if we ever will. However, I do feel like business and hobbies kind of fills that void a little bit, because we are able to teach skills to a group of other sims, and I don't know, I think this is a fun way to make use of that feature. Now you guys can see my reading corner, my little carpet corner has finally come together. We have cute little round carpet, we have like a little bin in the corner instead of that huge lamp that I had earlier. I have a special chair. My sister was telling me also, she's like, I feel like when I was younger, we always had a special chair, and then like if you were doing good that day, you were allowed to sit in the chair for the day. I wanted to do that with this. So we have the little special chair that's underneath the canopy. The chair that has like the flowers would be like if the teacher wanted to read a story with the class, for example, they can sit on the carpet while she reads, or they could also sit there as well if, you know, they have free time and they want to read, they can sit in that chair. I feel like with the teacher desk, I was very much inspired by myself. I was like, this is what I'd want at my desk if I was a teacher. So I have the laptop, I have an extra monitor that I could attach to the laptop, I have like a little sticky note and pens, and then I also have a journal to take notes. I put a binder, which is actually the soccer playbook from Discovery University, but we can just pretend it's the school like binder, and we have our lesson plan in there, and then we have our water bottle, a mug for our coffee, and then tissues, because these students be sick sometimes. Sometimes you need a little tissue paper because, I don't know, there's lots of germs in the classroom, and that's just the way that it is. And again, that's also part of the reason why we have a hand washing station. I also put some like paint supplies and stuff, and the idea that like maybe they're doing arts and crafts, because I did put like little arts and crafts at each of their tables, like crayons and stuff like that. So I thought it'd be fun to make it look like maybe they were working on some sort of art piece for the day. So let me know in the comments down below what you guys think of the classroom that I've created. What are your thoughts in general about like me potentially doing a series of making different classrooms for different grades? Would that be something you want to see? Let me know in the comments down below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed. Stay tuned until the end so you can see screenshots of the final build. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, because we are pushing for 800 subscribers, maybe by the end of the month. I feel like that's a lot to push for in the next few days, but potentially by the end of August, I would love to hit 800 subscribers and 2,000 watch hours. So continue to watch the videos, like them up, subscribe again if you haven't already, and just continue to support the channel. I really appreciate it. I will see you all in the next one. Thank you so much for watching. Bye everyone.